Hello guys, my name is Calvin, and I happen to love Horizon Forbidden West. There are many things to love about this game, but one thing I should probably mention before we actually get into talking about some of the things I really love about this game is make sure that when you go to a campfire and you save, that you manual save. Because if you don't do that, you will lose your save if you ever want to replay the game. Anyway, let's get right into this. The first thing that I want to talk about the things that I really love about this game. I know, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, because a lot of people do videos like this on different games about how they love this game so much. But I just really wanted to do that again, because I really love this game. Now, one thing that I really like is the mount selection. Now, this game, when it does come to PC one day, I think it's still gonna be a better experience to play on console, because of that PlayStation haptic feedback. And the mount selection is amazing, but each mount has like an individual feel in the controller. Like when they walk and stuff, like it actually is in the controller. And another cool thing is, like, for instance, let's see, you can like you can walk them slowly like this, and then make them do this. Like a lot of games that are like this that aren't like Red Dead Redemption 2, where you have all the different options for movement. And I happen to be an equestrian, so I know a lot about horses and stuff. Walking is a big thing, and so a lot of games will just make you do this. So if you, for instance, play Zero Dawn on PC, you'll just automatically like run, and that really kind of sucks. It breaks the immersion, and the mount selection is just so wide. But that brings me to the next part of our comparison, or should I say, just this isn't really a comparison. I don't know why I said that, but it's the textures. I mean, this game has some insane freaking textures. I mean, like, seriously, take a look at this. And one way you can like zoom in on Aloy's skin is you do this, and then all you have to do is just go focal length and just go all the way. But just look at that. And this is on just a random character model, and even the sand. I mean, it may not look too good, but like, really, I mean, those are some mad good sand textures. I mean, like, what? I mean, you have to zoom in pretty damn far for there to be pixels. Now, this is basically something on everything. And I mean, just even the moss on like rocks or redwood trees, they're like 3D if you really zoom in. They're like PBR textures, like literally. I don't know how this game runs so well on PS5. And now I always play in fidelity mode because I like graphical fidelity. But even just like the foam is 3D. I mean, just look at that. Oh yeah, also that brings me to my next point, is like there are actual waves. And I mean, if you're like a surfer person, which I used to be, and this was a big deal for me, is that if you really want to, you can sort of make up a way of like body surfing. Like, I mean, because you can like basically duck dive. If you don't know what that means, it's basically what surfers do to get through surf. So like, um, this is not the best beach for it, but there are actually a lot of really good breaks that are deep enough that you can like have range to body surf. And I mean, if you just look around, you'll find that there are actually a lot of really good breaks in this game, and there's a lot of options for places to body surf and duck dive, because you can actually like dive underwater and then like dive back up. And even just like, well, I guess I should make the next point, is that the animal models are actually insane. I mean, I'll pull up a picture right now of a salmon. You see how crazy that is? And I mean, even just these rando fish like this. I mean, look at those models. Those models are insane. Those are good for like fishing game standards. Like most fishing games don't even have this good of models. that's a freaking statement. You never even see these fish, hardly. I mean, clearly you do see them, but like, you don't really, you don't have a ton of time to be like there focusing on these little tiny things zipping around. And that's the case for a lot of things, like birds, which you never really get up close to. I mean, you might get up close if you're flying, they might fly along with you, or if you're flying, you might fly near one. But like in general, you really don't see a lot of these things, and there's just a lot of these little details around like that, and that's what makes this game so cool, or at least it's one of the things. Of course, the story is also amazing, so I guess that brings us to our next point, is that the story in this game is really, really good, and despite what a lot of people say, I really enjoyed the story in this game. Some people will say that the story is boring as, well, and other people will say that it was super good and you have to like this game. But I think it ultimately comes down to personal preference, because some people will like the apocalyptic setting with like creatures that are basically so strong that even if you play in the normal mode, you're probably gonna get your ass handed to you. Like, some people are gonna love that. Some people are gonna love the difficulty in this game and the story and all that stuff. And the story is very complicated, so you should definitely play Zero Dawn, even though I haven't done that. I'm going to do it soon. I have it downloaded now. I would recommend doing it first, because now I'm kind of stalling on playing it, because like the graphics on Forbidden West and all the added features and stuff, I'm just kind of stalling because I'm not sure I want to like basically go back in time. I actually started Zero Dawn a while back. I actually started it back on PC. I streamed it on the old PlayStation streaming thing that they used to do. I'm not sure if they do that anymore. It was never very good, but back on PC, I really wanted to play Forbidden West, because I knew it was like the basic. Yeah, because it kind of is the most graphically realistic and graphically pleasing looking game to look at. I mean, there are definitely some things, but like, I mean, just look at this. Look at this character lighting. In most games, like even in Red Dead Redemption 2, if this lighting, like the shadow cast from that building, you're under this, it's just gonna look kind of weird and washed out and weird. Like the eye sockets, it just looks uncanny. But here, I mean, she looks just as good in the shadows as she does like in the light, and that's what makes this game feel so much better, is the character lighting. It's almost like they have a lantern inside them that makes like light off them, and that's really, really neat. But anyway, we're talking about Zero Dawn, or now I kind of forgot what we were talking about, but Zero Dawn, it's just like it. When I was playing it back on PC, I just I realized, well, I didn't know at the time that this wasn't Forbidden West. And so I was just like, well, this game doesn't look that good. And then I think because I was pretty young, I mean, I wasn't that young, but like, my parents were like, hey, here we go. Because I was playing this at my dad's shop, because I obviously didn't have a PC when I was pretty young. And, so basically, I had to leave, and when I left, I just never picked up the game again, or I never played it again. In fact, I literally got rid of the PlayStation subscription, because I just wasn't really that into it. I didn't have the attention span, I think, at that time, to like get through the opening sequence. I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which obviously has a pretty fast start, whereas, Zero Dawn has a pretty slow start. And Zero Dawn doesn't entirely look that good, despite what people say. People will be like, oh my god, Zero Dawn is so good looking. You have to play this game. I didn't even know that they could make a game that's better looking. Like, look at those models on just the fireflies, dude. But like, I didn't even know they could make a game better looking than Zero Dawn. I don't agree. I don't feel that Zero Dawn is that good looking. I don't think it looks bad, but it just doesn't, like, really look that good to me. What? anyways, we were talking about, it just doesn't look that good to me. Like, it just feels very, how do I put this? Almost, I guess, they're not really going for as realistic of an approach as Forbidden West. Like, I feel like the whole Horizon series definitely has, like, a stylistic thing going on. But, like, Forbidden West definitely took a more realistic looking approach to it, rather than, like, a aesthetically pleasing look, even though it's entirely aesthetically pleasing, like, it really is. But they definitely tried to take a more realistic approach. I just feel like it turned out really good. Whereas Zero Dawn was kind of like trying to figure out what the hell they were doing, and they didn't have the technologies probably to make it entirely ultra realistic looking like Forbidden West. But they also didn't go for a cartoony look, and so it was just kind of that like 2018 era of just like, well, what exactly are we doing? What are we trying to achieve with our game right now? What stylistic approach are we taking to this? What are we gonna make our game look like? And that's what they were ultimately struggling with, it seemed to me, in the graphics quality. And I know everybody's gonna be mad at me in the comments, but it looks amazing. And obviously I haven't played it on PS5 yet, so we will truly see that soon. But one thing I do know is their water sucks. Like, you can't really dive under. And I mean, the water in Forbidden West just looks so good. I mean, just take a look at this. Alright, let's see. I mean, this water looks good, but there are places where the water looks even better. I just couldn't specifically think of one. So this is the place that we're going to be showing you the water. I mean, who wouldn't want to swim in this, though? Doesn't it just look so inviting? And look at the little fishies. And then the waterfall textures and stuff are actually very good, too. I mean, they look like good waterfalls. I mean, there's some things that are like multiple waterfalls in one waterfall to make one big waterfall. It's kind of weird. But, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Let's go. Why can't I die ever? For some reason, I just like can't figure out how to die. But the thing is, there's some things that I don't like about this game, and I just wanted to say, I think the things mostly that I don't like about this game, they're mostly just aesthetic things, and let me tell you about them. So, mostly what I don't like about this game is the animations. I mean, a lot of the animations are very, very good. But there are some animations that are just extremely janky. Like, they basically just didn't really, like, because a lot of animations in this game, like the raffling animations and even the animations, like the facial animations and the most character animations, I just don't understand how the hell they let some of these little things slip away. Like, the animations for getting up, like, off of, what do you call them, the sit to progress time things, like, how do you even, like, allow this to happen? Like, how did they not notice? Because, like, she literally janks around, and, like, there's a few little things like that just kind of piss me off, and I wish they were fixed, but, I don't think they ever will be. But in general, I think the Burning Shores DLC is definitely worth it. One thing I do wish is that there was more rain, like, because when rain happens, it doesn't happen very often, and because, like, you see it's kind of sprinkling a little bit. It doesn't happen often enough, in my opinion. Like, in real life, it rains a lot. I mean, depending on where you live, it rains pretty often. And, I mean, for a game that has such good graphics and, honestly, good water, it actually looks pretty good once the rain really starts to pick up, and it feels kind of stormy, and I just wish there was more of that. Like, it rains fairly often, but it sure as hell does not rain enough. Like, even if it didn't rain, even if it still rained only as often as it does, I wish that it, like, rained more when it did rain. Because, like, currently it rains, but then it kind of just stops. And, I mean, that kind of sucks, you know? Because rain in games usually is probably one of the best looking things in games, you know? It's what makes the ground wet and reflectiony, and honestly, it looks really cool when it rains. Not But like, it has to rain enough for the ground to start to get wet in this game. And I suppose that that's realistic, because obviously most of the area is just dirt, and it takes a little while for dirt to really start to get precipitation-y, or whatever you freaking call it. But you know, it doesn't always rain enough. Yeah, but this game is absolutely stunning. There is no doubt about that. Every little detail, the hair physics, even the necklace physics on some of these outfits, it's just absolutely stunning. There is one thing I do want to show you, and there's one last thing that I want to talk about that I really, really like about this game before we end this video. Let's get right into it. Alright, that last thing is that it has the most beautiful place on earth in this game. A place that I have been many times and I cherish with all my heart every time that I go. Yosemite. I love this place, and actually they did a very good job representing it. I've done a lot of hikes here, and it is a very, very awesome and unique place. And I quite enjoy just spending time here in the game, because it really does feel like Yosemite. I mean, you can scale Half Dome and El Capitan if you see fit. You can go up on the Three Graces if you really want to. You can swim in the rivers. You can look all around this place. You can fight things down there. You can find places that you want to spend time. It's just such a cool place. And I think that it's very unique that they put this in the game, because it's just located at a spot right here, just in case you didn't know that this was in the game, or you're just getting the game. You've been to Yosemite, because I know a lot of people have been to the game, or been to Yosemite. It's just right on the outskirts. It could have almost not been added. They also, of course, added Mount Willie, or whatever it's called, which is the tallest mountain in California, and I think that's very, very awesome. They also added Mono Lake for some reason. I think it would have been cooler if they added Tahoe, but they didn't. Mono Lake kind of sucks. I don't know, it's just dumb. But then, you know, there is, I mean, I've done this hike. I've gone all the way up to the top of Nevada Falls. And they have Nevada Falls right over here, I think. I think it's this one. Now, it's not very accurate, because in real life it's a lot more epic than that, but, you know, they did do Vernal very well, very accurately. And Half Dome is kind of a weird shape, but it definitely looks like Half Dome somewhat. I think they could have done a little bit of a better job on the Half Dome model, but I suppose it makes it look a little bit more ominous, the shape of it. It's a little bit more jagged, and I suppose that would be realistic, because in 1,000 years, or more than that probably, because it seems that they had much higher technological advances back then, or at least in the old world. So probably like maybe even like 5,000 years. El Capitan probably will be a little bit smaller, and it may have even had some rock slides to make it smaller. So it's actually pretty realistic. Maybe not in 5,000 years, might be more than that. But it is pretty realistic that in the future, some of these things are not going to be quite as big as they may have been, or now. Though it is kind of weird that they would still be the same shape, because I don't think they would be. But as you can see, Half Dome looks extremely ominous up there. But let's scale it. And now you get greeted with amazing view. And if you look really far in the distance, you can even see the Golden Gate Bridge, which is kind of wrong because you can't actually see the Golden Gate Bridge. But it's still cool. And it's also cool because you get to see just how far the map goes. Because I don't feel like it gets enough respect for just how big it is. I mean, that mountain is like not even that. I mean, like, look at the map. I mean, this mountain is just right over here, and then there's all this land behind it. But that is that far away, and all in between that, it goes all the way down that way to who knows where. Plus, then there's LA over there, which is, by the way, a DLC. It's a Burning Shores DLC, which you do have to buy for $40. But that's all the way over here, and you know, this map is huge. This game is huge, and it's perfect for me, and that's what I love so much about it. I live in the Redwoods, you see. I don't actually live in the Redwoods, but I live, in a place that has redwoods right near me. And it's a very special place, and I feel like they represented it very accurately. Now, I know that this isn't actually the place. This is supposed to be like Sequoia National Forest, but these redwoods look a lot more like the redwoods near me than they look like the redwoods at actual Sequoia National Park. Now, I love that. And so, I live near San Francisco, so this is a very, very special map for me because it is perfectly represented in me. It represents everything that I've wanted in a game. A good story, good graphics, good map that actually takes place in a real world like place with this many biomes that's so diverse and has so much stuff, has all these different machines, is just generally fun to play, has good combat, has dinosaurs. Though they may be robotic, there are so many. There's just all these different things to do and see and learn, and it's unique for every player that's going to play it because there's so many different ways to play it, like whether it be figuring out your combat strategy to just figuring out your stealth strategy. There is just so much stuff to see in this game, and that is why Horizon Forbidden West is so awesome. I'll see you in the next one, guys.
PlayStation